Everyone today is trying to sell you a map to success. But there is no map to success. This is a lie. But it's also a good thing. Because in realizing that there is no map to success, there is no success recipe or course you can do that'll lead you to the things that you desire, you begin to look at the deeper wisdom, parts of you that you may have seen sometimes, parts of you that come out when you're maybe alone in the shower, getting those shower thoughts, right? Or in a state of deep meditation, or you're walking through the woods and really taking in the full experience of what you're experiencing in that very moment. This is a technique or a sort of mental concept called Prajna, which is a Buddhist concept that I'm going to explain to you in this video, and how you can really understand what Prajna is and use it to your advantage to not only remember who you are, but to sort of cultivate a sort of internal GPS that will guide you to the very things that you desire, that will guide you to a deeper sense of purpose, to a deeper sense of fulfillment that you may have forgotten long ago. So with that being said, let's get right into the video. Now, how many of us actually trust ourselves these days? We've become a society that's gotten used to abdicating our responsibilities to other people. That's just how this society has worked out over the last 150 years. We've slowly become more reliant on systems around us, which has freed up our time, our mental capacity to do the things that we enjoy, or to just relax and watch Netflix. But at the same time, for many people, and I had experienced this back in 2019 when I lost my job as a paramedic, is I realized I had a very eroded sense of self-trust. I didn't actually trust my word or what I was going to say. There's that old saying, like, the word is your bond. And in not having my own sense of self-trust, I couldn't trust that inner voice, that intuition that would come up for me sometimes. And intuition really is something that you can train. It's a sense that you have, a sixth sense. There's always, inspirational ideas that you're going to be hit with throughout your lifetime. You're in the shower and that idea rushes through you and it feels so energizing and it lights you up in a way that gets you excited in that moment. But then what do we do with that? We continue scrubbing ourselves, right? Put the facial wash on, whatever, finish your shower, and then go do the next thing that you're going to do. Never writing that down, letting that idea escape back into the ether. This inspiration is, you have to realize, it's information that comes from beyond you. It comes from beyond time and space even. This is information that comes from even maybe some would say like a divine source that the ancient Greeks called the daemon, not a demon, a daemon, which was this sort of inspirational, creative entity that would rush through your body and give you these insights. But your ability to have an intuition, to have an internal compass, will dictate whether you really pick up on this idea and make it into something real, make it a living idea into something real, or it's just a picture to be admired in your mind. Now, inspiration is something everybody has, but this is the intuition that we call prajna, that can be developed through prajna. And prajna is this idea of going into states of deep meditation. That is one way to do it. There's actually two ways to do it. Going into states of deep meditation, which I refer to as relaxation and silence. It doesn't even have to be what you think of as meditation. If you simply sit in a room alone, or the first thing when you wake up, find somewhere quiet and just sit. I like to get a blanket around me and get a little cozy, and just sit there with your thoughts and see what comes up for you. What emotions are coming up for you? Don't even think about what you think. It's about what you're feeling in your body in that moment. And in this moment, even if it's for a minute, even if it's for a couple minutes, you'll experience this sense of prajna. And over time, this whisper, this little intuitive nudge that was so drowned out by the life that we live, that many of us live. You're constantly bombarded with signals all around you, and you can't listen to your own signal within. And when you sit there and you listen to that signal, that is a key. Maybe that's a little insight of where you could be going. And I'm not talking about the kind of signal that is convincing you not to do things over and over and over again. This is a part of you that's called the resistance, and you should avoid it at all costs because it's an old wiring in your brain. Actually, I'm not going to go too deep into this, but just realize that when you're in a state of complete silence, in a deep state of meditation, you enter into something called a theta state. And a theta state is literally, it opens the door to not only this inspirational, creative entity, this force that rushes through us every now and then, but also allows us to hear our own internal voice and how we're receiving that. And in doing that and slowly taking action on it, as scary as those things may seem, you'll begin to become your own map maker. It's about pushing through that initial resistance, that part of us that convinces us not to do the scary thing, to not take the leap. But in taking the leaps is where you're going to have your biggest breakthroughs, is where you're going to have your biggest insights. And this is not, this channel is not about building your personal brand or starting a business. It's about to really understand who you are. And those things, the personal brand, the business, the amazing ideas that you have for creating incredible art, they'll naturally flow through you once you get out of your own way. And if you want to know how to actually do this relaxation and silence exercise, there's a free guide you can get down below. I break down exactly how I like to do this. Do this for a couple hours a day, and it'll honestly really change your life. Now, when I left my job as a paramedic in 2019, I had no idea where I was going to go. I went to university for a while to become a programmer. I did some freelance project management. I built some websites. I did some digital art and created NFTs. I became part of a crypto community, and I ended up joining a few crypto startups. I went through this whole learning process, and all along the way, there was no map, there was no counselor, there was no career guidance person telling me what to do. There was no course that I took on how to do this. It was simply listening to my own internal voice, this inner whisper kind of nudging me in different directions. And eventually, I found the things that really excited me, the things that I really resonated with, where I really felt present in the moment. And I also had cultivated a sense of awareness around of how I actually felt about those things. And in doing that, I began to grow this sense of self-trust. It became stronger and stronger, leading me to where I am now, standing in front of you here, in front of this camera, coaching clients all around the world, helping them with really helping people get out of their own way, and realizing that there's a common thread that's been running through my whole life to lead me to this exact moment. But all I had to do was remember who I was and to listen. Now, if you want to know how to actually do this, there's a free guide down below that you can pick up that will honestly change your life if you just do this a couple minutes every day for a month. Try it out for a month and see how you feel. Until next time, peace.